rest of my NFC East brothers go out there and have fun in the playoffs. OHIO. He found a way. The Ohio State, because Carl somewhere saying I can hear Carl voice every time I want to say Ohio. He's like, no, the Ohio State wins the NCAA. Well, let's just say the Natty. And for those who don't know, it's the NCAA National Championship. They defeated the Notre Dame.
Fighting Irish. Thank God.
And we ain't talking about Drake freestyle. 34-23 last night. And man, they closed the book on the 2024 season. This is their first win since first national championship since 2014. And that game all the way up until late looks like a cruise control for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And Dave, you was doing a celebration. So what happened there, man?
Ohio State, the better team, won pretty much. The first drive for Notre Dame was actually crazy, but you could tell that it took a toll on Riley Leonard because he ran the ball 9 times in that first drive, and they drove down the field. They took 9 minutes of the game, but after that, Ohio State just took over. It took over. Ohio State scored on every drive after that, pretty much. And then, second half, it got a little close to where it started going good. Shout out to what's the wide receiver's name? Jaden Greathouse for Notre Dame. He had 6 catches for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had the two key touchdowns that they needed in the second half to get them back into the game to where they was close, But Ohio State was the better team, man. Ohio State has had a great season so far this year. They beat 5 highly ranked teams this year. They beat number 3 Penn State by 7 points. They beat Texas by 14 points. They beat Indiana by 23 points. Beat Notre Dame by 11. Beat Tennessee by 25. So this team was just phenomenal. And shout out to was it Quinshon Jenkins? Yeah, Quinshon Jenkins. Sorry. In that title game, he had 3 touchdowns, 13 touches for 121 total yards. He balled out. And then Jeremiah Smith, a guy that University of Miami was highly going after. Had we had Cam Ward that committed earlier and the commitment last season, maybe he would be with Miami. But he is a monster. If you saw what he did in high school, he was pretty much phenomenal. Then he won 3 high school championships in Florida for Chaminade, and he was amazing. It was so much that they had to pretty much double and triple team him last night, and you've seen that throughout the college football playoffs, and it's just crazy, man, how good this team is. And then Will Howard, his NFL comp is Mason Rudolph, but he played like a really good quarterback in that game last night. So it was a really hard fought battle between both teams. Fighting Irish had a good season. Even though I'm a University of Miami fan, I don't like Notre Dame, but I'm going to talk about what they did well, and they had a great season so far. Their head coach was the first Black head coach to make it to the national championship game. So to be very proud of, something to be very happy about. It's their first college football title appearance since 2012. Most wins in the season in program history. His 3rd straight winning season, and then they won the Sugar Bowl and Orange Bowl this season in order to get to the college football championship. So even though they lost, they did have a great season so far. But Ohio State was the better team, man. It was a great game in the end because it looked like it was going to be a blowout, but it was a great game in the end. And I'm glad I didn't turn my phone off to watch it.
Look at technology. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, so like they said, the game. When you watch the game, Notre Dame gets the ball first. They score, but they converting on multiple 4th downs. Like they said, it was kind of like it was a long-winded, hard-fought 7 points they earned, right? And then Ohio State comes out and scores. Like, okay, cool. And then they stop Notre Dame. Then Ohio State comes out and score. It's like then you look at the score is 21-7. It's like, dang. Then they get the ball at the half. And I said in the chat before they even talk about the locker room, like normally at the halftime, they got the sideline reporter after the first play, give you an update what the coach talked about. Before she even got to that, they were already within the 10-yard line. Then they scored again. So we all in the chat like, man, it's over. And then Notre Dame, man, that fighting Irish, right? They came back. They fought. It shows you the culture they have. They didn't just lay down and get blown out because Ohio State, stacked team. Most people who like probably 90+%, I'm assuming, probably thought Ohio State was gonna win this game. Unless you were a Notre Dame fan, or you just don't, or a Michigan fan, you probably picked Notre Dame, right? But everybody else, everybody knew Ohio State was a better team and they should win this game. But Ohio State had a weird year. All right, going to the season, we know that they had all the talent. They played against Oregon. That was a back and forth game. Literally went down to the last snap. Oregon won by 1 point. But then Oregon became the number 1 seed because Texas couldn't beat daggone Georgia twice. But anyways, so they become the number 1 seed. And then right before the tournament, right before the playoffs, Ohio State lose to Michigan. And Michigan has been like average all year. You know, so when Ohio State loses to Michigan, everybody's like, oh man, here we go. They overrated. Everybody was worried. But then in the playoffs, they play Oregon again and beat them 42-21, destroy Oregon. Once that game happened, everybody's like, all right, Ohio State's gonna win. You know, so shout out to them. They deserve it. They were the better team, best team, literally this year.
And to add to what you were saying about the Michigan game, they got bullied in that game too. So the fact that they got bullied by Michigan and they were like 20.5 point favorites in that game, and Ohio came out and looked like that. Yeah, that was bad. And then to enter the playoffs, and then you have it like this, and then to go up against some of the teams that they beat. Now, of course, the one game that I'm going to point out, Joe, I know this one probably hurts you, is the one against Texas, because it's like, well, you would have thought that Texas would have made some plays. However, again, it's just like another team we're going to talk about later. Once you get in the dance, all that stuff you did in the regular season, sometimes it don't matter. If you get hot and the other team don't make the right plays, then boom. And it's another team that probably, and them being from the Big Ten, you know, I didn't pick them to win either. I didn't want them to win, but I also know Notre Dame was on a magical carpet ride as well. Sure. So it's just like at some point the run has to stop. And luckily for them, it stopped with an actual appearance in the championship game. Some people could lose right before, and then it's just like, well, was it all worth it? And we'll talk about that a little bit later with another team too. So again, I agree with my brothers that the better team did win. Notre Dame definitely has a bright future here because seeing that coach getting the exposure and going through what they actually went through because I think their game started, they were a part of that whole thing in New Orleans. Remember, they were around there when the terrorist situation happened, so they had to play the next day, and then they had to go, and then that actually might have sparked the run a little bit because the team banded together through that. And a lot of people getting that exposure made you say, hey, you know what? I want to go to Notre Dame and make some plays. It is what it is. But to me, and the way they fought back, because again, I told you Ohio State looked like they was on cruise control. You really thought this game was just going to be over. You could have cut it off and said, hey, wake up the next day and be like, wait, they got 21 points? Where the other touchdowns come from? When this happened? This game?
Conversions too. I was
like what is going on here? But hey, that's just the woes of football too as well. You can never cut the game off because you never know what's gonna happen with 3 and outs, turnovers, anything can happen, and the game could just be in your favor. But shout out to Ohio State Buckeyes for winning it, and let's see what happens next year.
Hey, real quick, Dave, for you respond. Notre Dame, they beat Georgia and they beat Penn State just to get here. That's kudos to him for that. And Blaze, your comment, MSU will never, long as I live. Ohio State beat MSU 38-7.
Oh my God.
Hey, Carl, I didn't say nothing, Carl.
Georgia had to do that. So Texas actually opens up next season as the favorites to win the national championship. But Ryan Day got $1 million bonus for that. Another thing that was great for Notre Dame is they made $20 million in the college football playoffs payout. So that goes to their school by itself because they're not a part of a conference; they're an independent school. So that's great for their program that their football has to gain $20 million and they can use that for more for their team instead of it going to a whole conference. So that's really good for them. And Ohio State have now the second most championships in the AP poll era, which started in 1936. Alabama has 14. Ohio State has 9, with Notre Dame and USC right behind them with 8.
Notre Dame, the good old days for Notre Dame people.
Man.
Yeah,
But
that ain't
like
happened in a long
and then the
time.
Cowboys, they got all them Super Bowls. It was a long time ago. When
You
last
see,
time Notre Dame?
you said it
No,
right,
I'm
Dave.
sorry, Tomo.
You see what
I
I'm saying,
really
Dave?
trying to
You
take
see
a
what I'm
shot.
saying? Punching
I could have said the
you.
49ers too, though. I could have said the 49ers.
Yeah, but you did.
You know what I mean?
We got 3. It's a long time. Hey, when the last time Notre Dame won a natty? It's been a minute, right?
I gotta check that up. I gotta look that up because I don't know. I don't remember.
Carl, I just want you
All
to know
right.
I didn't take a
Last
shot
time they
at
won
him.
was in.
That's all I'm saying. 2.
Oh no. They got it. 88.
Too far.
What? Nah, that's not right.
Hold on, where you at?
1924.
No,
Nah.
Dave.
No,
That's
no,
the
no,
first
no.
one.
1949. My bad.
What?
No, wait.
No, that can't be true.
I'll say, hold, Dave.
My bad. I'm sorry. I keep looking at it wrong. It was 1988. That's the last time. 1988.
Yeah, 88. Y'all 88.
It was with Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was the head coach.
They said 1929.
No, I was like, what they winning 8 in a row?
No,
They was
no,
out there
no,
with
it
was-
Christopher
it was
It
Columbus.
was 1988.
All right, well, I mean, that's still
Yeah.
bad. Sheesh.
Hey, I know why you
beat-
said 91 though, Carl. I know why you said 91, but go ahead, Tomo.
Yeah, they beat West Virginia 34-21 in the Fiesta Bowl.
This is gonna be the longest 2 weeks of my life. Bro.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Nah, it's gonna be 2.
And the whole off season.
I can deal with the all season if it ends this weekend. Either way, it is gonna be the longest 4 weeks of my life because one of y'all got to make.